This is CBS.
Dozens of puppies were seized by Meeker County officials today on a raid on one family's breeding operation.
A familiar face in national politics was in the Twin Cities today campaigning for Joan Grow. And there is a dispute between some local vegetable growers and the university over a project to train refugees in agriculture. We'll have the stories up next on the 6 p.m. report.
Coast to Coast Hardware presents The Wrong Family. Today, Mr. Wrong is sizing up the situation and, as usual, falling short of the job. If only he knew about Stanley's 25-foot power lock tape, now just $8.99 at Coast. Oops, the kitchen's a mess today, and it's time for lunch. What they need is the Hamilton Beach space-saving under-the-cabinet can opener, now only $14.88. Maybe it's time The Wrongs got it right.
We're coast to coast.
It's fall sale time.
And we can help you.
Switch this month to the new AM country music station WDGY. Because every day from now through November 15th, WDGY is giving away $100 an hour every hour between 6 a.m. and midnight. AM 1130, the new WDGY. Music to your ears and money in your pocket.
Serving and informing the Twin Cities for 4 decades. This is WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul. And now, Dave Moore, Pat Miles, Mike Fairborn, and Ralph John Fritz bring you Channel 4's 6 p.m. report.
Good evening, everyone. A Meeker County family's attempt to get ahead financially by raising puppies has come to grief.
Acting on the suspicion that the animals were being neglected, sheriff's deputies and humane officers confiscated this afternoon at the family's home near Dassel, Minnesota. Criminal charges are unlikely, but as Alan Cox reports, officials in the community 50 miles west of Minneapolis have new problems to cope with.
Authorities found dogs living in the trailer, dogs living under it, dogs in a shed behind it. 50 to 70 in all, a veterinarian estimated. Many of them were Lhasa Apsos, a small breed resembling the Pekingese that can bring as much as $200 a puppy at retail. The sheriff said their owner claimed to clear $400 a month by selling the dogs. Some puppies apparently went to brokers, others directly to stores, or were sold from a truck at flea markets. After anonymous complaints, the County Humane Society asked for a search warrant.
The facilities are not adequate inside or out. They're very poor, very dirty, just very poor facilities for, breeding.
The owner wouldn't talk to reporters and ordered them away, but the family of 3 was described by authorities as people looking for extra income, not animal haters.
There's a 12-year-old girl living there, and it's really a bad situation in the house there. There's no water, no toilet facilities, and I don't know how they live.
Unlike the animals at some puppy mills raided in Minnesota, the dogs here appeared regularly fed. A vet said only a few would have to be destroyed.
In about 6 weeks or so, maybe a month, they'll look like a new bunch of dogs.
It cost the Meeker County Sheriff's Department $6,000 the last time it confiscated a group of dogs like this. And so the County Humane Society is looking for people who'd like to donate to help pay for the upkeep of the dogs. And eventually, it will look for people who would like to adopt one. With photographer Dave Bowden, Alan Cox, WCCO Television News, Meeker County.
The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is gearing up for its probe into charges of child pornography and murder in Scott County. 4 agents are assigned to the case in which up to half a dozen Chicago area children were reportedly slain. BCA Chief John Erskine says so far there is no hard evidence to suggest any wrongdoing, but he says 3 child witnesses from the Jordan area may have to be interviewed to clarify what happened.
The only thing that bothers us about it is that 3 of the children have said it at 3 different times to 3 different people, and their stories are very similar. That lends some credence to it, that it's not just a bunch of kids getting together fabricating a story.
So far, the FBI is staying out of Scott County. However, state authorities have agreed to keep them informed of possible pornography involving children. Local FBI officials say their services are available if requested by state or county authorities. Today's testimony in the trial of accused child killer Samuel Thomas concerned footprints in the snow. Last January 28th, police followed tracks from the backyard of the home where Ricky Churcher was killed and his sister Sojourner McLean was wounded. Those tracks led to another home, but the man who lives there was later cleared as a suspect. As a result, according to testimony from police officer Charles Geyer, a picture of that man was not included in the videotaped lineup shown to Sojourner McLean in the hospital. It was that lineup which led to the arrest of Samuel Thomas.
2 people remain hospitalized tonight after a high-speed chase through Anoka County. It ended just after 2 o'clock this morning when their car slammed into a concrete barrier in the city of Anoka. The 2 were trapped inside the car, had to be pried out by rescue crews. Both are in stable condition at Mercy Hospital, and charges are pending against the 19-year-old driver. 2 truck drivers literally found themselves between a rock and a hard place in northern Minnesota last night. The 2 were traveling together on Highway 61 near 2 Harbors when a rock slide sent a large boulder into the middle of the road. The first driver swerved to avoid the boulder, and his truck plunged over a 150-foot cliff. The second driver's truck plowed head-on into the rock. But incredibly, one of the men suffered only minor injuries, and the other was unhurt.
The Democrats brought in one of their big guns today to campaign for Minnesota candidates. We'll have the story coming up.
Jerry, you bounced a $42 check. I've got $6 grand sitting in savings. Look, John, you're the broker. This money market is not paying off like you said it would.
Here's a man whose financial situation is totally under control.
We're sorry. The bank is closed. Please call tomorrow between...
Someone else's control. Now, the most progressive banking organization in the world brings you an intelligent alternative. Introducing the Citibank Financial Account. One simplified system that lets you keep everything under control, including your temper.
Look at this, no bounce checking, insured money market accounts.
Look at the interest they're paying. Is that a misprint?
And with one consolidated statement, you finally got your banker, your investments, and your credit card company right where you've always wanted them. 24 hours a day.
So you'll transfer $800 to my checking. Great. Have a nice day. Good night.
The financial account from Citibank. The most bank for your money.
Special sale prices, 10.9% financing, and all the winter driving advantages of Alliance and Encore's front-wheel drive. At 10.9%, as little as $137.03 monthly buys an 85 Renault Alliance. Sale prices and that 10.9 rate can put you in a new Encore for as little as $129.13 per month, or lease the 85 Jeep Cherokee for just $238 a month. Sale prices, special interest rates, great selection. But hurry, 5 minutes east of the Mendota Bridge on 110 or South Robert to 110, Bob Carter Ford, AMC Jeep and Renault.
DFL Senate candidate Joan Grow got some high-powered fundraising help today from Senator Ted Kennedy. The Massachusetts senator is in Minneapolis as part of a 22-state tour on behalf of local Democratic candidates. He told the crowd at today's $100 a plate luncheon that Grow should go after her opponent, Rudy Boschwitz, for voting against a civil rights bill this year, and also for not voting on the nuclear freeze resolution that came up earlier this year for a vote.
Finally, the test for us in this election is not conservative or liberal. The question we must ask is not whether policies are left or right, but whether they are right or wrong.
A spokesman for Boschwitz said he voted to withdraw the civil rights bill because of procedural problems. Senator Kennedy also accused Senator Boschwitz of agreeing with President Reagan's policies no matter what the price, and he labeled Boschwitz rubber stamp Rudy.
Senator Boschwitz says there are some radio campaign ads critical of Joan Grow, which he did not approve, that mistakenly were broadcast on Monday. The senator's aide said they are withdrawing the ads as too negative. Grow campaign people say that the Boschwitz radio ads were just plain inaccurate and misrepresented both candidates' positions. Karen Boris now takes a look at the commercial battle in that Senate race.
Joan Grow's commercials chide Rudy Boschwitz for not releasing his tax statements. It is a tactic that has worked in other contests for the Ohio-based consultant advising Grow. If the statements are released, Grow takes the credit. If not, she attacks.
It makes you wonder, what is it Rudy Boschwitz doesn't want us to know?
Meet Boschwitz's accountant. The Boschwitz response to Grove's request is a commercial featuring the man who has filled out those tax forms for 20 years. Boschwitz's staff says Grove's commercials are venomous personal attacks. The accountant is more polite.
Those paid commercials questioning the integrity of Rudy Boschwitz are not only unwarranted, but absolutely shameful.
Shameful or not, they are working, according to the Grow campaign, which credits ads attacking Boschwitz with moving them up 15 points in their polls in the last 30 days, a move not reflected in the Boschwitz polls. Grow plans to spend a total of $800,000 on advertising, $100,000 a week for the next 3 weeks.
We finally brought Senator Boschwitz into the campaign. As a result, he's making mistakes. And as a result of those mistakes, we're closing the gap, and we now have a contest.
With 3 weeks to go, Boschwitz has already spent more on advertising than Grow plans to spend by Election Day. Radio ads comparing the two, Boschwitz ads, were pulled off the air at his request for being negative. Boschwitz content to let his opponent attack without attacking back.
They've seen that Rudy is a very popular individual, and they're trying to undermine it, frankly. They have to cut him off at the knees if they have any chance at all. Usually those things backfire.
The Grow campaign says that with 3 weeks to go, they are within 9 points of Boschwitz, and that they started moving up in the polls when they started attacking the incumbent. To which the Boschwitz campaign replies that their polls show a much wider lead for Boschwitz, and that one of the campaigns ought to get its poll money back. Karen Boris, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
Some Twin Cities growers are complaining about competition from Hmong farmers. That story in a moment on the 6 p.m. report.
When you're making plans for your financial future, nobody does more to help than the life insurance business. We offer free consumer's guides explaining the basics of insurance. We provide a toll-free telephone information service to answer your specific questions. And above all, we have 250,000 professional agents ready to bring answers to you. America's life and health insurance companies, a growing commitment to America's life and health.
What's the difference between this Goodyear Arriva radio and the ones I usually put on? The price. This one's on sale, which can make a big difference to you. Look, you get all-season performance, steel-belted toughness, high mileage, everything you ordinarily get with Arriva, all for less than you ordinarily pay. A great price, a great tire, in sizes to fit most cars. But come in now, because after Saturday, they go back to the regular price.
Sir? Yes? If I said you can now buy this famous Kuppenheimer suit for 40% less than other quality brands, what would you say?
I'd say it's stolen.
Assuming it's not stolen.
Kuppenheimer for 40% less?
Right.
You're a fence.
No, look, Kuppenheimer makes its famous clothing and sells direct. With no middleman, you save 40%.
40%? Right. You'll never get away with this, you know. Stealing famous Kuppenheimer.
Kuppenheimer Direct. Value so good, it's hard to believe.
Leo Biscaglia. We see somebody across a crowded room. We think they look good. We go over there and we say some nice things. And funny that at that time they communicate. Isn't that interesting? And then you form a relationship and you think you have no need to communicate. And they're always so kind and so polite. And so, you know, they say thank you and please and would you until you marry them. And then for some reason that doesn't seem to be necessary anymore.
And we hope you'll join us.
A project to train Hmong refugees to farm vegetables has other Twin City growers upset. The farmers are complaining that the Hmong's products only add to an already flooded market. Tonight, project directors from the university will meet with the growers to discuss their concerns. Barb Brown reports.
The growers don't blame the Hmong people, they blame the university's project, saying the Hmong growers pay no overhead because of subsidies and can sell for as low a price as they choose.
And I sell most of my stuff retail. And they'll come over and say, well, over the other row now, they're selling it a lot cheaper. And I'll say, well, how come? You know, and it'll be the Hmongs.
That's what hurts, you know, when they can sell it so cheap. They're not going to buy from us.
Project directors say most of their produce is sold through brokers, so the U isn't controlling the market price. And they're trying to teach the 40 to 50 project families skills so they can become self-sufficient. The project began in '83 and receives $500,000 a year from private foundations, the government, and sales, which pay for equipment and training. But their income from sales is half what was projected. Directors blame produce coming in from other states.
The project has suffered with the growers. I can understand their concern about it. We, I think, are trying to develop markets that would not be in direct competition, but at the same time, this produce is on the open market with the other produce.
And that makes for the dilemma.
Just like us and some of the other boys, we ship out some of it too, because we can't sell it all here either. But where they're staying directly here, they're hurting. They're cutting our sales down.
Tonight's meeting may or may not appease the growers, but both the project's directors and growers hope getting together to discuss the concerns will be a first step toward resolving the conflict. Barb Brown, WCCO Television News, the Twin Cities.
This is a familiar sight to viewers of KTCI, Channel 17. For the past 7 months, the station has been carrying color weather radar 12 hours a day. But the service will end in a few days because the Department of Transportation, which paid for the service, has run out of funding. And the announcement that weather radar is going off the air has set off its own storm of protest. Marcia Floor explains.
Last March, the Department of Transportation contacted Twin Cities Public Television and actually rented Channel 17 for more than 90 hours a week of color weather radar. With literally thousands of pilots, the state felt the weather information would be an invaluable safety tool. At $35 an hour, the station broke even. So Public Television President Richard Moore won't mourn the loss of money to Channel 17, but he does recognize the value of the service.
I have a letter here from the city of Maplewood, which said that during the storm, this is way back in May 1st of '84, saying that when so many of the warning systems failed, all they had was 17.
Moore says underpowered and underfunded Channel 17 can't afford to keep the service going, and the aeronautics tax money used to fund the project is run out. But Division Director Bob Engelhardt says he's received about 1,000 letters since the announcement was made that the service would go off the air, and he's hoping for money to start up again. In the meantime, Moore has found there is no accounting for people's taste in television viewing.
We discovered that, and when we put on the test pattern and at KQED in San Francisco, that we built up quite an audience for it. We had the idea at one time of just shooting a fish in a fishbowl and trying to do a Nielsen count.
Before the Department of Transportation began using Channel 17, the station ran 35 hours a week of public service programming and a full day of snow. And that's what it's going to have to go back to. This is Marcia Fleur, WCCO Television News, St. Paul.
Our radar is working just fine, thank you, but it indicates that today's glorious sunshine will be very short-lived. Rain returns late tonight, and, well, Mike Fairborn will have the story in a moment.
Kellogg's Nutri-Grain.
This is dedicated to the ones we love.
Okay, I know his swing has lost some of its zinc, but to me, he's still pretty nifty. So no morning goes by without his Nutri-Grain cereal. Nutri-Grain has no sugar added, no preservatives or cholesterol. It's full of the natural whole grain that's so good for him. And he loves that special Nutri-Grain taste, almost as much as I love him.
Nutri-Grain from Kellogg's.
Dedicated to the ones we love.
If you're eating right, you should know that for the same 180 calories, you could have this much beef, this much fish, this much chicken, or this much Hormel ham. Because this is new light and lean ham from Hormel, trimmed extra lean to be extra light, but it doesn't taste it because it's 100% real Hormel ham. New light and lean ham from Hormel. It's ham in a whole new light.
We've got what it takes, true value.
Save now on their hardware value of the month. In October, it's this deluxe clip light, just $4.97. It features a sturdy clamp that easily grips a headboard, workbench, desk, or pole. And it swivels to direct light right where you need it. Get your deluxe clip light for only $4.97. Look for the October Hardware Value of the Month banner at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
What do deli experts say about new Vlasic refrigerated deli dills?
It tastes just like the extra crunchy pickles my father used to make. They taste like they just came out of the barrel. Extra crunchy.
New Vlasic refrigerated deli dills. The cold makes them extra crunchy. Vlasic makes them taste great in the refrigerated section.
This pickle is extra crunchy. It must be one of ours. Bert. Like I said, it's one of theirs.
New Vlasic refrigerated deli dills.
Well, my house plants were gasping a final breath there before the sun came out today. I think I've got another week for them
Need to get one of those grow lights if this continues, that's for sure.
I guess I will.
One of the more significant fall events occurred last night. Guess what it was?
A snow flurry, I heard
A
already.
snowflake. Our first snowflake, at least officially, fell at the National Weather Service, so we don't have to worry about
We
when
have
that...
any proof of that?
Well, the observer out there, I trust him, okay? And it occurred at 11:23 last night. Now our next event will be when we get our first inch accumulation, then our first foot accumulation. Okay, we'll go up from there. But the sunshine today and the respite that we're enjoying from the rainy, stormy weather that we've been having has given us a 58-degree high temperature reading today. Very close to the average for the date. Look at the low. That's only a couple of degrees off as well. A trace of precipitation left over from the storm that we had moved through us late last evening, and that was just after midnight last night. Temperatures all over the upper Midwest today were in the mid to upper 50s, would you believe. Few cooler pockets up around Lake Superior and up in the extreme northwestern part of North Dakota. But there's clouds down to the southwest of us. Those clouds are moving this direction, and sometime after midnight tonight we'll be back into the rain. And there's another disturbance further out behind that. In fact, all of the Intermountain states have some kind of either a winter storm warning or a traveler's advisory in effect for them. Our current weather map has one low pressure area that's moved north of us, snowing up to the north, snow scattered back in the Rockies, but this low pressure area is going to move very rapidly out across the Central Plains and hook north, and as it does, tomorrow's right now is looking like it's going to be another stormy day, much the same as we had yesterday. The live radar picture right now indicates some heavy cells of thunderstorms down across the Texas Gulf Coast, just a scattering of showers, mostly in the form of snow flurries, all the way from Utah through Wyoming, Colorado, and moving out into the Central Plains states. By tomorrow, that low pressure area is going to be very close to us. Behind it, cold air sweeping in once again, the possibility of some snow across the northern part of the state by tomorrow night, and even late tomorrow night, another snowflake or two here in the Twin Cities as a possibility. But in the meantime, a lot of rain, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm or two. High temperatures are going to remain on the mild side of the cool, I guess, if we can call it that, with temperatures most likely in the 50s again here tomorrow, but we're not getting into the real cold air that's still well entrenched back over the Rocky Mountain states, and it looks like that's going to remain that way, and that's why they're getting the snow and we're getting the rain. Our current conditions, mostly cloudy, 56 degrees, winds out of the south at 16, 3007, and the barometer is rising. The humidity is 47%. Our forecast, increasing clouds, rain developing, winds out of the south at 10 to 20, a low of around 42 degrees. By tomorrow, windy, cold, rain, possibly heavy at times, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm, windy, winds out of the south-southeast, 15 to 30 miles an hour and gusty with a high of only 50. Tomorrow night, more rain, the possibility of a flurry mixed in with 38 for a low, and then clearing up a little bit again on Friday with partly sunny skies, a high of 50. The extended forecast then calls for a little break in the rainfall, but maybe not a great deal of sunshine, at least partly cloudy skies. High temperatures in the 50s, low temperatures in the 30s. Maybe this will be the last big push from this major storm that we've had out in the west of us.
Like to push that thing right out of here.
Get it over to the east of us for a while.
Thanks, Mike.
A University of Minnesota defenseman was named Upper Midwest Player of the Week. Ralph John Fritz will include that story in his sports script coming up in just a moment on the 6 p.m. report.
Target celebrates the unveiling of its brand new Eden Prairie store with a grand opening sale in all Twin Cities and Rochester stores.
Start with the basics. Turtlenecks from Target. Sweater 'em, vest 'em, shirt 'em, skirt 'em. You can afford them. They're on sale for our grand opening. Men's turtlenecks $5.99. Juniors just $4.99. Boys $3.99. Girls $2.99. Huggable, snuggable turtlenecks from Target.
Come celebrate the grand opening sale at all Twin Cities and Rochester Target stores.
TNT Championship Hot Rod Pull with Mud Racing. St. Paul Civic Center Arena, 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday, October 26th and 27th. It's double traction action with two-wheel drive pulling trucks and the grime and glory of mud racing. Plus the Stomper Bully Monster 4x4, pulling, crushing cars and roaring through the mud. Presented by Go-Go the Gorilla at St. Paul Civic Center Arena. For more details, listen to the Morning Zoo on All Hit 101 KDWB.
It's the Runaround, a little dance made popular by so-called bargain building supply stores that make you run from one end of their warehouse to the other just to find what you need. When you get tired of the runaround, come to Knox. We have lower prices than those other guys. We also have the Knox Answer Booth to help you find what you want fast. Knox, good prices, good answers.
Owens Corning Insulation on sale now.
Have you tried Encaprin? When minor arthritis pain says you can't, Encaprin's aspirin micrograins let you say,
I can.
The annual weekend teachers convention has given us a little early start on high school football this weekend.
This is like a Friday night right now, tonight. And I don't know if they're going to be able to play all these games. There's so many wet fields, but I think most of them will get underway. 9th-rated Elk River overwhelmed Alexander Ramsey this afternoon. That was 27-0. Only the first Elks touchdown was the traditional variety, as you'll see here. Elk River's special team scored twice, once on a 93-yard kickoff return, and on this play. After a bad snap, the Ramsey punter finds he's no running back. Earl Bunker, number 9, recovered and went 22 yards for the score. Fourth quarter, Elk River offense finally scored. Jeff DeMars fumbled at the 15. Rick Connors jumped on it after the ball rolled into the end zone. Elk River is now 7-1, and Elk River winning 27-zip. Cooper over North 13-6 this afternoon, and Hillmurray is leading in the fourth quarter over Highland Park 35-0. A lot of football again coming up this evening. Tonight, there are at least 2 good matchups in high school ball. Henry and Roosevelt vie for the Minneapolis City Conference crown, 7 o'clock at Parade Stadium. Second-rated Wayzata will be at 10th-rated Richfield in a clash of the Titans, and we'll have highlights for you in both games at 10 o'clock tonight. The Gophers' upset over Wisconsin last Saturday has really paid off in the form of individual awards, one of them being Lou Holtz as UPI's College Coach of the Week. Holtz said he thought he did a poor job on the sidelines and said the victory belonged to the players, not to the coaches. Well, one of those players Holtz was referring to is freshman defensive lineman Doug Mueller from St. Louis, Missouri. Mueller was credited with 3 sacks against the Badgers and was named Midwest Defensive Big Ten Player of the Week. We'll have a mutual admiration society going here as Mueller praised his head coach Lou Holtz.
Now are impressed with the new head coach Lou Holtz. How about yourself?
I'm impressed with him too. I haven't met anybody that isn't impressed with him. Being from St. Louis, I tell people that my coach is Coach Lou Holtz, and they say, well, hey, I hear about that guy too. And even people that haven't never met him, a lot of people have heard him speak all over the country, and they say he's a fantastic man, and he really is.
The Vikings have picked up another center today. Grant Fiesel, a 6'8", 278-pounder, was cut earlier by the Indianapolis Colts. He is a second-year man out of Abilene Christian. To make room for Fiesel, the Vikings released Reuben Vaughn. The Twins have asked waivers on right-hander Al Williams, who has had an injury-plagued, inconsistent career. Williams' best year last year, well, not 84, but 83, when he had won 11 games for the Twins. Meanwhile, pitcher Bobby Castillo and shortstop Chris Spire have applied for the free agency draft. Chicago Cubs manager Jim Fry received some consolation for his club not winning the National League pennant. Fry was named National League Manager of the Year by the Baseball Writers of America. He guided the Cubs to postseason play for the first time since 1945. Fry received 16 votes, as you see, to 4 each for Dick Williams and Dave Johnson. While we're on the subject of managers, it now appears that John McNamara, who rejected an offer to remain with the Angels last week, will take the helm of the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox will make that announcement tomorrow. It's not often that people in this area get a chance to see the best player in hockey perform live. In fact, Wayne Gretzky and the Edmonton Oilers will only make 2 regular season appearances at the Met Center this season. One of them takes place tomorrow night. Gretzky and company have picked up where they left off last year when they won the Stanley Cup. The Oilers have the best record in hockey, and after last night's 7-2 drubbing of the Bruins, remain one of the 2 undefeated teams in the league. Wayne Gretzky, he is off to a very slow start, Dave. He only scored 2 goals last night. 4 games. I guess he has 3 goals, so that is slow for Wayne
My
Gretzky.
question is, why would any team release somebody who's 6'8", 278 pounds? In the first place, where
To
would
make
they
room
get...
for a 290-pounder.
I would just put him out there. And where would they get anyone to tell him that he had been released? 1 of 4 managers and supervisors on the job today are women, but as women garner more titles, are they getting much higher salaries and access to the corporate boardrooms? In some cases, yes, but there are more women managers who aren't making substantially higher salaries and who have no power to hire or fire. The issue of women and power is the topic of tonight's cover story on the 10 p.m. report. We'll hear from one woman who has made it in a male-dominated profession. We invite you to join Marcia Fleur for that cover story tonight at 10.
We'll be back then. Hope to see you then. Good night, everyone.